So I need one of you guys to come over on this side of the line if you could. You guys can stay in your chairs if you want, that's fine. I'm just gonna put these all over here. And then, please remind me to pick these up when we go, because if I get in trouble. 5, 7, there's 2 more over there, 2 for you guys.
Wait till we get them all. and throw them out the
2
last
for
time.
you guys. I apologize if I hit anybody.
I really feel like I'm back at school now. Never balls up with.
Okay, we're gonna do an exercise called trash ball. Okay, I'm gonna explain the rules real quick. Okay, so you guys are gonna have to get out of your chairs probably to make this work. Just depends on you. Okay, if you feel comfortable that way. Okay, I think that's good. Okay, so when I say go, okay, what you're gonna do is, let me go ahead and set the precedence for this game. Okay, so the objective is to get as many pieces of trash, okay, into your neighbor's yard as possible. So you guys are neighbors, right? Here's my divider line right here. You got neighbors on both sides of the fence, and the object of the activity is to get as many pieces of the trash onto the other side of the lawn as possible. Okay. So
What's the
that's
time
all.
period?
You're gonna keep going until I say stop.
Oh,
But basically, you guys just have such a disdain and such a hate for each other. I know it's not very Christian, but you know, work with me for this example. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go ahead and then participate in the game. Okay, I'll get some music going once you guys are playing. But basically, the only thing is you have such a nice manicured lawn that you want to keep it safe and nice looking from any trash. You have a 20-foot wall that you guys have kind of built between each other. So let's say 10, 15-foot wall that you guys have built between each other in order to just not see each other and not even look at each other. Okay, so that's kind of the setting. So when I say go, I want you guys to go ahead and then working as a group on this side and on this side, you guys are going to work together to basically put as much trash on the other side as you possibly can. Okay, so that's the deal. Okay, so on your mark, get set, and go.
Don't throw. Let him throw it out. Don't throw. Don't throw. Don't throw. Don't throw.
Oh man, our team is killing it.
Okay, you guys just hate each other. We'll go 15. We'll go 15.
They're waiting strategically. Good luck, class.
$5 gift card to Starbucks.
Higher than that. Don't take it from the bottom. Integrity class. Throw it over the wall. Get ready. Get ready for the barrage.
Good, have a seat. You guys can leave those on the ground. The next class will pick them up. That's the best fit.
All right.
There was a lot on that side over there.
Yeah.
Tons over there. So we went to the exercise. I gave a couple rules. And I gave basically a couple rules. I gave the background that you guys don't like each other. There's a 15, 20-foot wall between you guys. And it was interesting just to see the dynamic of the group. Okay. The questions I wanted to put out there real quick is, what were you feeling as you played the game? Anybody, real quick?
Competition.
Yeah.
Okay, competitive. Okay, what else? Feeling competitive? Anybody else? Anybody feeling nice and generous? How about when I said you're going to get a Starbucks gift card for $5 and basically, yeah, we're going to get that if you win. Did that change anybody's attitude? Yeah, okay. What about as the game progressed? Was there anything that influenced how you were playing the game besides the rules that I gave you? Did anything influence you as far as the game itself?
Get whacked
No.
in the head a couple times.
What is that?
You get whacked in the head a couple times.
Okay, you got whacked in the head a couple times, okay? So when you get whacked in the head, then you get a little mad, right? You're like, okay, shoots, I gotta throw that back. Okay. What happened to the wall? I noticed the wall started to kind of become lower and lower, right? We talked about the 15-foot wall, imaginary wall between you guys, but the whole objective of the game kind of started to get compromised as you guys started just kind of, I saw some of you guys just kind of just throwing trash down here and then trying to get it to the other side. And the last question I wanted to ask you is what happened when I said stop? Oh, these guys didn't stop, right? Oh, this guy. I said stop, and then I saw like 20 other
The right class.
right?
Integrity.
Integrity,
The right
exactly.
class.
You know, integrity is a very, very lacking characteristic amongst a lot of men, and it's something that we all struggle with. I wanted to show you a scene real quick from the movie Courageous. Some of you guys may have had a chance to see this. So if we can maybe just catch the lights real quick. This is from the movie Courageous.
Martinez, have a seat.
Thank you, sir.
You were very productive your first month here. You did good work.
I'm very grateful to be here.
Well, Mr. Martinez, the reason I called you in here is that I'm looking for an additional manager to oversee inventory and shipping. Carries more responsibility, but it pays more. Sound like something you might be interested in?
Yes, I would.
But before I make my final decision, I'd like for you to work a shift in that department next week. You'll see a list of 17 crates coming in on this sheet. One of those crates will be going to a separate warehouse. Mr. Martinez, when you report the inventory, I'd like for you to report that we received 16 crates.
17 are coming in. You want me to write down 16?
Yes, that's right. I have another purpose for the extra crate. You are on my team, right? Because I really can't use people who aren't on my team. Tell you what, you think about it tonight and give me your answer in the morning. Make it 10 o'clock. But I'll need to know if you really want this job.
Good evening, sir.
Javi, we need this job. For the first time in a year, we're able to pay the bill.
You know, Carmen, you made it very clear. If I was not a team player, he did not want me there.
Maybe it's not wrong. It just looks that way. He's the owner of the factory.
He asked me to write down false information, Carmen. He asked me to lie.
I don't want us to go back.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Martinez. How are you this morning?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
I don't know yet. Please, have a seat. Trust you've had time to think about our conversation yesterday.
Yes, sir, I did.
Now, what did you decide? Are you on my team?
Mr. Tyson, I am very grateful to have a job here. I cannot do as you have asked.
And why is that?
Because it is wrong, sir. It would be dishonoring to my God and my family to lie on that report.
Do you understand what this may do to your job here?
Yes, sir, I do.
Javier, may I shake your hand? Young man, you just gave me the right answer. I've been looking for someone to manage inventory and shipping, and quite frankly, you were the last person on my list. But I need somebody I can trust. Will you take the job? We'll adjust your pay.
I'd be honored to, sir.
Good. Then the job is yours. Now, Walter will go over all the specifics with you, and I'll make the announcement to the staff on Monday. Congratulations, Javier. Oh, and Javier, thanks for your integrity. It's rare.
Well done, Javier. 6 times I was getting discouraged.
How's that? Did they catch the lights? How many have seen the movie Courageous? Anybody in here? Very powerful movie. I think if you haven't seen it, definitely would recommend getting a chance to watch it. But right after that scene, he basically calls up his wife and he's crying and she's crying and she thinks he's going to get fired. And he basically lets her know that it was a test. It was a test of his integrity. It was a test of his character. And integrity is basically defined as a quality of being honest, having strong moral principles and moral uprightness. Now I know for a lot of men, as we go through life, this aspect of our life, the moral principle and moral uprightness, can become compromised. And we start to make concessions on things that we believe and convictions that we have. What I thought was really interesting, guys, is this Latin derivative of integrity. So it comes from the word integer, meaning whole or complete. So when we have integrity, guys, we're whole, we're complete in that inner sense of wholeness. And it comes from characteristics such as honesty and consistency of character. So if you're one way at home and one way at work and one way at church, is that integrity? Probably not, right? If we're going by this definition of wholeness or completeness. So that's something I want you to think about this morning is what type of character do you possess and what type of character do you portray at work, at home, in church? Is it the same? Is it different? You know, the Bible speaks to integrity in a lot of different verses. This is actually a verse I use with Marcus. We actually had a rite of passage ceremony for him a couple months ago when he turned 16. And the Bible says in Proverbs 10:9 through 10, whoever walks in integrity walks securely. But whoever takes crooked paths will be found out. You will be found out. You know, the Bible is very, very direct about integrity. If you can walk as a man of integrity, a young man of integrity, a middle-aged man of integrity, an older gentleman of integrity, you can walk securely, guys, in your life. And no matter what life throws at you, whatever curveballs happen at work, whatever curveballs might happen with your kids, maybe making decisions that you don't really approve of, or a situation in your marriage, you can walk with your head held high and walk securely in God. Proverbs 13:6, righteousness guards the person of integrity, but wickedness overthrows the sinner. You know, I'd much rather be guarded by integrity and have that basic hedge around me than to be overthrown basically by wickedness. You know, and that's the thing about integrity is it can't exist in the same element as wickedness. They're two totally opposite things. Those character traits of integrity, honesty, responsibility, truthfulness, forthrightness, those things cannot operate and function in this area of wickedness, just much like God can't exist and function in the arena of darkness. Psalm 41:12, because of my integrity you uphold me and set me in your presence forever. We all want to be in God's presence forever. We all want to be in God's standing forever. And integrity as a man will allow you to do that, guys. It will allow you to do that. And the last verse I wanted to share with you real quick before we get into some other concepts is Mark 12. Greatest man of all time, I owe my life to him. I owe my marriage to him. I owe my kids to him. Is Jesus. You know, in Mark 12 verse 14 it says, they came to him and said, teacher, we know that you're a man of integrity. You aren't swayed by others because you pay no attention to who they are, but you teach the way of God in accordance with the truth. You know, this is a big one for a lot of men, especially younger men who really, and I think even older men who care a lot about what other people think. Right? It's very easy for us to get into the mindset of what our wives think of us, or even what our brothers in church think of us, or what our co-workers think of us. And we start to compromise God's truth. And that's the biggest thing I want you guys to take away from this is basically following the way of God in accordance with the truth. And that's where you're going to find it, guys. You're going to find it in the Word. You're going to find your security in the Bible. You know, about 7 years ago, I was actually disfellowshipped from the church for unrepentant sexual sin. I had a lot of sexual sin in my life. My marriage was basically just going to be over. You know, I was going to probably lose my kids. And it took God to really wake me up in that regard and help me to see my sin and look at the integrity that I was lacking in my life, to God's grace to really becoming more of a man of integrity, trying to focus on those simple things in my life. You know, and I owe a lot to God, because if it wasn't for Him, I would not be standing before you this morning. Here's some compromising situations, and I'm not sure if some of you guys can relate to this. Just some food for thought. Have you ever turned into an entryway or entrance that says "Do not enter," but did so anyway to avoid traffic or light? Right? You see like a "Do not enter" sign. You see like there's nobody coming out of it, right? You're like, it's not gonna hurt anybody. I can turn in there. Or how about you told your wife that you'd take care of it after multiple requests and still not do it? Right? Your wife's asking you to take care of that issue with the garbage disposal, or with the pool, or with the you know, the bathroom, or whatever it might be. Then you basically end up not doing it. Or you told your kids that you would do that one thing that they wanted to do but didn't. Right? How many dads do that? Right? You tell your kids, man, we'll get to that. We'll go to the zoo this week. I know you really wanted to, but work comes in the way. You make excuses. That never happens. Surfing the web or checking your phone frequently at work or at school or in church. I see a lot of people in church, man, just plugging away on their phone, not attentive to God's word, not attentive to what's going on, interacting in worship. That's an integrity issue. Texting and driving, big one. How many of you guys text and drive? You know you're not supposed to, right? Yeah, you know you're not supposed to, right? It's a law, right? You use your phone while you're driving, you know, and again, that's something I think that a lot of us can relate to. And prayerfully, nothing ever happens, you know, to that point where you're texting and driving and someone gets hurt. Cheated on a test or copied someone's homework, students, right? Oh shoot, I'm late, man. You got the assignment? Boom, bang, 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 bang it out, turn it in. Where's the integrity? Where's the character? Plagiarize or taking credit for someone else's idea or work. Okay, you're at work, you guys come up with an idea, the boss hears it, you pitch it to him, you don't really share where it really came from, you kind of take credit for it as your own. Said you would never, and then you can fill in the blank, but you eventually do. You eventually do something that you said you would never do. Can you relate? How about this one? This is a big one because I've done this in the past. Been given an overage of change and did not say anything about it. Like you pay $20, you get a little bit more, and then you're like, oh shoot, there's like an extra couple bucks there. It's not gonna hurt anybody. They made the mistake, right? Let me take it. Exaggerated figures on your taxes. Tax time right now, guys. On your deductions, on your credits. I think I gave about, let's just round it up to, you know, $5,000 of contribution, you know, whatever it might be. If you've ever lied, cheated, stole, been unfaithful, looked at pornography, and I appreciate Brock's heart to go up there and really share his life, especially in the area of pornography, which is a big thing that we'll kind of talk about towards the end in terms of integrity and the arena of purity. You've compromised your integrity. And if you have any hidden secrets from your wife, from best friends, you know, things that you're holding on to that just are hidden, that are very dark. Right now I wanted to go ahead and break up into some groups because I wanted you guys to get a chance to interact and get involved. So if you guys can maybe break up into groups of 3 to 5, just in your areas where you're at, that'd be perfect. So it'll take about 30 seconds to do that. You guys can maybe turn your chairs around. And then I'm going to show some things on integrity that you guys can basically discuss. So I'll leave it up to you guys to figure out how to form those groups.
Street.
Yeah, 3 to 5. Yeah, you guys can go 3 to 5 just so that more people can interact.
You can right now. Yeah.
What is that? No. Okay, so I'm going to put up a few quotes here. Based on the time, I'm just waiting on that time constraint. We might go and get through all these, we might not, okay? So quote number 1, Mike's a little bit bigger. Okay, in your group, okay, with regard to integrity, at work, at home, in your purity, with your finances, with your children. Integrity is doing the right thing even when no one is watching. Even when no one's watching. What do you think that means? This is a quote from C.S. Lewis. How does that speak to you? And if you can take some time, maybe 30 seconds, 40 seconds to discuss this amongst yourselves. Integrity is doing the right thing even when no one is watching. So you guys can talk about that. How does this challenge you?
Make my own schedule.
My boss.
It doesn't get mad.
I justify it. Mine. I know that
Okay, about 30 seconds to wrap up. Final thoughts. All right. And you can wrap up the thoughts. Thank you, gentlemen. So integrity is doing the right thing even when no one's watching. Does any group want to share out what you kind of talked about, what you feel that kind of speaks to when you see that quote?
Yeah, I mean, we were just saying like the fact that like, you know, if your boss is there and you know you're doing the right thing, the moment that they're away when nobody's looking, are you still going to be doing the exact same thing as if he was right there? And so we were just talking about, you know, where do we lack in that? And
Okay.
so.
Good thought. Anybody else?
Yes, kind of similar to that, but I think I copy medical records where I work at in Macalapa, and so we're supposed to copy the whole thing, right? And there's just pages in the back of labs that all these little small lab chits on it. It's so just tedious. They're all glued to the paper, and so you have to fold them over and copy it, fold it over and copy it. It's so cumbersome. But my boss will say, don't worry about it, because they're so old, it doesn't matter. They're like from the 90s or whatever, right? It doesn't matter, don't worry about it. Just they're so old, it doesn't mean anything. And in my mind, I'll justify it like that and go, okay. But on the form that I was telling these guys, it says complete copy of the medical record. It didn't say whatever's useful.
Right.
You know?
A blocked out section.
Yeah, or whatever your discretion. Sure. It says complete copy. And I'll justify by not doing it. But I was telling them, like, in the past couple weeks, I decided to change that myself. You know, even though she said don't worry about copying it, I just do it anyway.
Okay.
Because I feel it's important, you know.
Sure.
Like, because the patient doesn't know it, they may not know it's there. And what if there was a lab test when they had some positive result, and it could have an effect on their treatment or something, you know?
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. You know, work is a place where integrity can be compromised very quickly and very easily if you're not on your guard. Cool. Anybody else?
At home, when I stay clean up, I feel good about myself. That's a big challenge for me, integrity. through excitement and order in the first prayer, but I give it all to God for guiding me through.
Kevin?
Yeah, I was sharing with our group about, as a dad, I'm always talking to my kids about having integrity and working hard and whatnot, and we're talking about, all of us talking about pretty much like our work, how it's easy to just kind of like slack off at work or, do something else at work other than working, and I was just sharing how, I feel like a hypocrite, it's like, here I am, like dropping a hammer on kids, you better do your work and finish it, do the best in school and blah, 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 and you know what I'm doing for a family or whatever,
Right.
And, if they knew like, Dad, what? You're like, you're just chilling on the computer at work or, or something, right? They'd be like, what about you? You know?
Right, no, that's a good point. I appreciate you sharing, Kevin. I think, again, work for a lot of men is a place where we can disappear if no one's watching, right? How about the area of purity? That's a big one, right? You get on your phone, in your room, computer, wherever it might be, right? Purity can be compromised, sexual integrity can be compromised very quickly when no one's watching. But I think we fail to remember that God is watching, that Christ is watching. Like, there's nothing that we do that God doesn't know about, right? It's not like we pull the wool over God's eyes and He's like, oh, man, I didn't see that coming. God's not like that at all. So, amen. We'll move to another quote right here. Let's go to this one. This one says, integrity is making sure that the things you say and the things you do are in alignment. Talk about that one for a second. Integrity is making sure that the things you say and the things you do are in alignment. So, feel free to talk about the challenges, some things that you may have done to help you in this area of your life. So take about 2 minutes to talk about that one.
It's easy to say,
In my heart, I want to do great things.
right when it problems if longevity, if I say I'm going to do something, I can do it for a little while, but
Do
then I
not
start to
take that shortcut.
compromise on it.
Self-seeking away.
Maybe
Getting what I want.
commit.
Selfish, regardless of no reason at all. And that's what challenging yourself
4 days, like 50
during the right thing.
even once you compromise it,
Comparing it against what God's will is. And just taking that life, taking something, somebody's hard that,
aside from this, like my wife is always asking me.
knowing that, well, the thing was in the craft, you know what I mean? They're not gonna know how to do it.
Left it there. Did one 2 weeks ago. I installed it. It didn't take me long. It took 5 minutes to do, right? And then the second one, I know that's one thing. She has to take care of that.
Okay, about 1 minute, guys.
I got more important things to do.
Remind me.
All right, so we're going to bring it back in. So this quote, integrity is making sure that the things you say and the things you do are in alignment. Anybody want to share what they talked about in the movie? Things that you say, things that you do match.
I guess I could share. I experienced leading a Bible talk or like sharing the word, and it's so convicting because sometimes you're hard on the word and you want people to really get deep about it, but applying it to yourself sometimes is really quite challenging. Like for example, in line of purity, I mean, confessing to sin, we all preach it, but I teach at UH sometimes during summer, and it could be quite challenging because students during summer could be quite challenging as well. So whenever I struggle with purity, I can't remember when was the last time I confessed with a brother or to my wife. Whenever I do that, sometimes I rationalize like, it's not a big thing, but I know, when you keep on feeding, that evil, the sinful nature in your heart, it's gonna get stronger, it's gonna pile up, and it could be dangerous.
Amen. Appreciate you sharing. Anyone else thoughts on this quote?
I think I was telling the guys that this is probably the biggest area. I mean, like there's a lot of areas that's why we're all here. But I think it's really convicting, especially when it happens. I can really see it at home with my wife and kids, and because I'm totally guilty of saying things just to say things, just so that they'd get off my back. Or they wouldn't start hounding me about stuff. But I notice that it gets worse when I don't follow through and I don't do what I say I'm going to do. And even to the point where my kids don't believe what I say. They're like, "Oh, Dad, you always say that. You're never going to do it." And it's like it really hurts. And I got to see that I created this and that I need to do something about it. Because already they lost faith in what I say, and that I think that'll affect them. So it's just something I have to change.
Amen. I appreciate you sharing that. God is good. He can change character in a heartbeat. We allow Him to do that. I think most of the time, at least with kids, when it comes to saying things, you start to learn Leanne's very good at that. She helps me to basically choose my words very wisely, and really think before I say anything. So she's a good barometer for me in that area. But yeah, you're right on. I mean, kids definitely, when you tell them you're going to do something, you better do it, or they'll definitely hold that one over for you.
Or you be like me and just tell them flat out no.
There we go. Okay, we'll look at one more quote here on integrity, and then we'll move on. Here, that's a good one. Okay. Integrity is choosing your thoughts and actions based on values rather than personal gain. Integrity is choosing your thoughts and actions based on values rather than personal gain. So, spend a couple minutes, let's talk about that one.
Yeah, this reminds me of the time actually had integrity, but so there was these position of words where if you
choosing your thoughts and
for
actions
sale,
based on
you sold
your
something,
values
they sent you a gift card. So they made a mistake and sent me like 4 gift cards instead of 1. And no one would have known if I just
my thoughts, my values,
It's like,
I did have to think about it. Well, it wasn't like instant
so when I see it,
every day. I really want to always that's
then I did, and then yeah, sorry, could you please send them back?
I'll probably have somebody that is actually valid. Come with a scheme, so I intend to based on the fact that you decide whether
Especially if it takes
so I can't take the credit.
yeah. We hear something,
What do you have that? See, like,
Okay, about another 40 seconds.
felt like that.
the hard closing you do, you go against what the hard closing you do.
Opportunity or something.
Either
Either you
say that you
gave
video.
yeah, we can do that.
And personal gain, personal gain.
Okay, let's bring this one back home. So integrity is choosing your thoughts and actions based on values rather than personal gain. So anybody want to share about that one? Choosing your thoughts and actions based on values rather than gain. Mike?
When I think of this, I think of like going on the road for basketball. We get a lot of time in the hotels to ourselves, and purity is definitely a struggle. Being there, having your phone, having Wi-Fi, and then knowing people in the area and knowing you can hit up a girl or something like that. And a lot of times I can think, well, if I go sin, if I sin on God right now, I'm not gonna play well tomorrow. Like I start thinking performance based, and he's gonna smite me basically. And instead of thinking, oh, this is a faith-based relationship, God's gonna have my back no matter what, but I gotta believe that, and I gotta act on that because of that belief. And so that's what I think of.
Okay. Yeah. Anybody else want to share? Good thoughts there from Mike. Thoughts and actions. How many of you guys have a difficult time, aligning basically your thoughts and actions on, this really lends more towards a selfish mindset, right? Integrity and selfishness can't exist in the same pot. They're totally polar opposites. So when you think about this, just think about your selfishness versus your selflessness. Integrity ties in directly to a selfless character. It ties into a very noble character. And if you even get a chance to read maybe the Knight's Code of Conduct, last year, every year I choose a different word basically to guide me for the year. Last year was, basically protect. And my character that I wanted to envelop was that of a knight. And this was a big one, integrity. So if you get a chance to read the Knight's Code of Conduct, it's really a powerful statement to, I think, what we can be as men. Okay, we got about 5 more minutes. So just some practical application in areas of your life. So marriage, in marriage, in order to build integrity, this is the utmost fundamental thing, guys, for you married men, is to be open, honest, and truthful with everything. Everything. No secrets. I lived a double life between my impurity, and then my marriage for a few years. Where it really came back to, like I said, without God's graces and love, would have ended up really bad. But now I live a life of transparency, openness, honesty, truthfulness, and the more you practice it, the better you get at it, and the more God will bless it. But there can't be any secrets. 1 John 1, actually that should say 1 John 1, 5 through 10. That's the chapter. It talks about basically walking in the light. And if you claim to be without sin, then you lie and you deceive yourself, because we're all sinners. This will build integrity in your marriage quicker than anything you can do. With your children, do what you say you're going to do. Spend quality time with them and just listen. I think as fathers, a lot of times, we're so caught up with disciplining and teaching and trying to instruct that we fail to listen. If you think about how much God listens to us compared to telling us, it's pretty awesome. We can go to Him and pray, we can go to Him and talk, and He listens all the time. So just being a good listener. Okay, for you guys that don't have any kids, your parents, do what you say you're going to do, right? You're over here in college, your mom and dad might not be here, they have no idea what you're doing, right? And it's a matter of integrity, going to class on time, right? Going to class, period. A lot of times you have the liberty to not go to class. Make sure that you're listening to your parents. Ephesians 6:4, that's a great scripture on not embittering your children. And then right above that it talks about obeying your mother and father. Work in school. This kind of ties into the first quote in the first slide. Be diligent and trustworthy in all things. Colossians 3:23. Work at things as if you're working for Jesus Christ Himself. Like if Jesus Christ was your boss, right? Just put yourself in that mindset. If Jesus Christ was your professor, you're going to give your absolute best. And that's what the Bible calls us to do in Colossians 3 verse 23, is to work diligently as if working for God Himself. Nobody else. Not for man, not for your wife, not for your kids, not even for your own personal gain or your own attributes, but to work for God Himself. Finances. Be a responsible steward. Okay, money's not the evil thing. Money's not evil. The love of money is. So if you're looking at being a better steward of your finances, having more integrity of how you spend your money, look at Luke 16, verse 10 to 13. And it talks about if God can entrust you with little, He'll definitely entrust you with much. If He can't entrust you with little, He's not going to entrust you with the big things. Some people ask, man, why don't I get the promotions? Why don't I get more money? Why don't I have money? Probably because you can't handle the money that you already have. You know, that's kind of my thought is be a good steward of what you have. Once you kind of do that, God will say, man, this man is a man of integrity with his finances. He doesn't, he has a budget. You know, he doesn't buy things that he doesn't necessarily need, right? I'm sorry, doesn't necessarily want. You know, and you got to really just be a good steward of your money. And then the last application, I think, is purity. These are some great scriptures here when you get a chance to study these out on purity. And this is an Achilles for many men. 7 out of 10 Christian men, or men in general, will seek out pornography. And I would bet that every person in here has either seen or continues to look at pornography in a regular fashion. But understand that it's not something that you can't break away from, guys. I thought I wouldn't be free from sexual sin and addiction and just acting out for many years of my life, but through God's graces, again, I'm walking free and have a great marriage to attest to it. One thing I did want to talk to you guys real quick about purity before we wrap up here in a few minutes is my wife gave me a lot of insight into this, where I use the excuse, men struggle with it, right? I'm a man, God made me this way. And when we talked about holiness and being set apart, her point to me was, how do you know God didn't want you to basically be, like you're supposed to be holy and set apart, right? How God designed, but we choose to go the other way. That everybody else out there, all the other men that choose to live a sexually sinful life, are the ones that are wrong and making excuses. When I was able to make up my mind and think about it in that way, I was really able to see a lot more freedom in terms of my sexual integrity. So Matthew 5 talks about looking at a woman lustfully, you committed adultery. Ephesians 5:3 talks about not a hint of sexual impurity. Corinthians 6:18 talks about basically avoiding sexual morality and staying away from that. So these are some scriptures hopefully that will help bring some practical application for you guys. I have a handout here which I'll share with you guys, but basically this is a handout from Carrie Newwolf as we close out. And it's 5 signs of lacking integrity. You guys can take one and then pass it around. Carrie Newwolf is actually a pastor of a church, Connexus Church in the mainland. He's also a great author. He has a lot of great books on leadership, and he's a church leadership trainer. But 5 signs of lacking integrity, as you can see right here. We are wrapping up. So I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys with that. All the same points that we're going to go through on here are on that sheet, guys. And then I just want you to think about this question. Why do you behave in this manner? And what area of your life needs the most attention? Alright? So that is it, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming out and sharing your thoughts. Oh, sorry.